Hello, 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 amazing people. Thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman podcast. This podcast is where I sit down with marvelous people so they can share their story and help us discover the right things to be consistent in to achieve the wins we have defined for our lives. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I sit down with Zale Coleman Hill. Zale is going to share a little bit of his story, and then we are going to have a go-in conversation around tennis and see what are some right things he is consistent in to help him achieve the wins he has defined for himself around tennis. Now, let me just say, go-in is being consistent in doing the right things that allow for you to achieve the wins you have defined for your life so that you can live out your greatest story. I believe there's a bunch of working hard. It requires a bunch of working hard to discover those right things because we are all so different. So something that may be consistent for me and works could be different for something that works for Zale. So that's why I love having these conversations. I believe they can lead to helping someone discover something they should be consistent in to achieve the wins they have defined for themselves or a win. So I'm excited for this go-in conversation because I have been able to watch Zale over the last couple of years work hard at discovering. He has been in discovery. I think we're always in discover mode. So, Zale, thanks for being here.
Yep.
Thank you for coming from your bedroom up to the third floor in order to sit down and talk to me about tennis. Tell my listeners and watchers who you are.
I am Zell. I'm a sophomore. Um, yeah. Hetty's son. That's me.
So since you're my son, tell us who your favorite parent is. Is it your mom or is it me? She's not up here. And she probably won't listen to this.
I don't have a favorite parent. I like
Zell,
them both.
come on.
I like y'all both for different reasons.
Let everyone know, man.
I like y'all both for different reasons. There's not a favorite.
What? That don't even sound like you like us both for different reasons.
Yeah.
What? Like, tell me one of the reasons you like your mom.
Definitely more comforting than you. That's one.
I
of
didn't
her-
ask you like what she's better than
well,
than me. I
that's
said,
what I'm saying. Y'all both have different things.
Okay, that doesn't mean that just because you love that she comforts you does not mean that she comforts you better than me. You could also love me because I comfort you.
Oh, well, that's
Equally.
a reason. Oh, well, that's a reason. There you go.
So you love your mom. One of the reasons you love her is because she's comforting.
Yeah,
But you don't have a favorite parent.
I do not.
Or you just don't want to talk about it.
I do not have a favorite parent.
So when you're with your friends and neither one of us was around and they ask you who's your favorite parent, you would say
I'd say I like them both
equally.
equally. Well, yeah, equally for different reasons.
So it's not equally.
It is equally, but for different reasons. Like in y'all's equality, there's different reasons.
In our equal,
in y'all's different sections.
okay.
Yeah.
In our different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Cool beans. Okay. Got it. So, talking about your mom, she just brought me a cup of coffee. So,
Yeah.
how did you get to playing tennis?
I started playing tennis because of mom.
Are you serious?
What's the good answer? What's the right answer? That's the right answer.
Tell me how is because of your mom that you came to play tennis?
My mom played tennis in high school,
Okay.
and when I was very, very young, she took me to play tennis. But I will say, actually, yeah, she's the reason I actually started like really playing tennis as well. So, I mean, yeah, mom.
Okay.
Yeah. The funny story is though, it was during quarantine summer, I think.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You're in the house too much. We gotta get you to do something." So I want to go play tennis with some older people. So yeah, had fun.
Who was the older people? Oh, when we had the group?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Is that when you feel like you really connected with tennis? Is when you?
yeah.
I think it was more when you would go with your mom and me,
Same. I mean, that's when I went to start. Like, that's when I started going with y'all. But like, I feel like what made me start really wanting to get better is because I lost to two of those men, and then I wanted to get better to beat them, and then from there just kind of, and then I wanted to beat Mom as well. I mean, I knew I was gonna beat. I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to beat Mom. I knew I was gonna be able to beat you eventually.
What in the world? Do you remember the first time you beat me?
No, I remember the first time I beat Mom though. Yeah, I do too. Because you were kind of just like, we knew I could beat you. It was that kind of thing. Like there never was a match where it was like,
what in the world is going on right now? You knew you were gonna beat me.
Yeah.
But you weren't sure if you were ever gonna beat your mom.
Yeah.
Why were you so sure you were gonna beat me?
Because you weren't good, like Mom was. You were good. You were all right.
I beat you for a long time.
You did.
I mean, I think I may could beat you now. If I really worked at it.
No matter how hard you work, you will never be able to beat me.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Right.
Hey, so who's your favorite tennis player right now?
My favorite tennis player is Nick Kyrgios and Roger Federer.
What do you like? So why Nick?
Nick, because I think he is one of the tennis players that is himself at all times. He kind of brings like an excitement to the court, and when he's in interviews, he just feels like he gives an honest answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like Nick, and he's like, he's energetic. I like how he plays. He makes it fun to watch. And then Roger, because he's just a great guy, like on and off the court. I mean, he's obviously one of the, in my opinion, the best ever, and also he's super humble about it. And he has one of the things about tennis that I need to work on the most, and most players need to work on the most, is their mental. And I think Roger Federer has had the best mental ever to come to tennis. So,
Gotcha. What is something that has changed about your tennis game since starting tennis?
A lot has changed. Just one thing?
Yeah. Or no, you tell me more than one if you want. But tell me some things that stands out to you the most, though.
The biggest thing that's probably different if someone just watched me is my consistency. I mean, from when I first started, my form as well is completely different. I used to not even swing over my shoulder with my forehand, which is crazy to think about now. But I used to not swing over my shoulder, and I used to think that I would be the best player ever to not swing over their shoulder. But that's obviously not happening. But yeah, I think my consistency, my form, and my tennis IQ as well, probably the biggest things.
Now, when you say your consistency, what do you mean by that?
So in tennis, there's a thing called unforced errors, and I think a big thing showing that you have more consistency is having less of those. So an unforced error is just when the ball is not really hard to hit back and you mess up is an unforced error. So I have less of those, a lot less of those, and I can be in longer rallies, and that kind of thing. So.
Gotcha. What else? You said you
had. I think my consistency, form, and tennis IQ are probably the biggest three things.
What does that mean, like tennis IQ?
So when you're on the court, just like having a better idea of where you should hit the ball next, and having a better idea where they're gonna hit the ball based on like where they're at on the court, stuff like that, where you should serve it, all that.
Now, how do you get better at that? Like, what allows for your tennis IQ to get better?
Experience, really. I mean, people can help you by saying whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just experience. Hitting points is what gets you.
So let's go back to your swing. Do you remember when you would argue about
not going over my shoulder?
Literally not going over your shoulder?
Yeah, I remember it. I remember I'd say that I was going to be the first player ever to not go over their shoulder. It'd be good.
You also going to be the best player ever to do the backhand.
One-handed backhand?
One-handed backhand.
Well, that was a little different because there were good players with one-handed backhands. The not over the shoulder thing is just nonsense. But the one-hander, like, it just... I started too late to have a one-hander. But I think...
You just recently switched to two-handed.
Yeah.
What's it been, like, less than 7 months? Or less than that, maybe?
Less than that.
Yeah.
Way less than that. Like, I'd say, like, 2, 3.
What is it that makes you have this idea, like somebody like these people who've been playing the game says, Zale, you need to go over your shoulder. Like, what is it mentally that keeps you from
That was a long time ago.
I know, but still.
Uh,
Because some people probably still struggle with those kind of things.
yeah.
I don't think it's about age or anything, but
I think a big thing that I still to this day have a rough time like accepting, but there are people better than you, and I think that sometimes you just listen to them. Another thing is like when you just that's just a thing you have to accept, and some things that and I think there are some times where there are people better than you. They'll give you advice that won't work for you because in tennis, there's a variety of different things you can do with a lot like forehand, backhand, but that was just I definitely should have just done that from the start. But yeah.
yeah. What is tell us one of the biggest challenges you face working on getting better at your tennis game.
Um. Consistency. It's probably one of the biggest things. I love going to just play tennis. I'll go play tennis any day for however long. But there are other things that you need to do besides just play tennis to get better at tennis. And that's probably what I struggle with the most, which is working out and probably watching. I watch quite a bit of tennis, but yeah,
Does watching tennis help you?
a lot. I think honestly, I think playing points and watching tennis is where you get your tennis IQ. Because I mean, you can play points, but I had one coach tell me that a player can practice as much as they want, but if they're practicing bad habits, they're just gonna stay the same. So it's like watching good tennis players, you can figure out what their good habits are and try to kind of replicate them.
Yeah.
In your own way.
So give me an example of you watching tennis and you took something from that and applied it to your game.
I think so. Novak recent. This is a recent example. Novak, I watched Novak, and Novak, one of his best things is predicting where the ball is going to be hit.
Yeah.
He's just insane at it. Like, there's no one better than him at doing that. And so I think not just that, but he's really smart about his placement as well. And just watching him do that, like when he goes cross court, when he changes directions, he's really good about all that. So I think that's what he because at the moment he's probably considered the best player. So I think that's what makes him the best at the moment is him being able to do that.
So tell me in that, like, how have you applied that to your game? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so like only like not too long ago I started really being able to like I've gotten consistent enough to where I can start to choose where I hit the ball every time. So it's like I'll like go across court 2 or 3 times and go down the line, just switch where I'm hitting that ball. So just like kind of taking that from him, just yeah. Which you can take that from any good player, but he's probably one of the best at it. So just yeah.
Gotcha. What's been the best advice you've gotten since playing tennis?
Best advice I've gotten is probably okay, tennis is not a fast sport. There can be fast-paced points, but taking it slow is going to win you matches. An example is like the old story, but like the turtle and rabbit when they're racing. The turtle, went slow, but ended up winning the race. So it's kind of like that. Like you can play a player who can hit super hard, but if you just have top spin and take it slow, you can win almost any point. Because getting the ball back over at the end of the day is how you win points.
So is it challenging to slow the game down like that?
Yeah.
Why is it challenging for you?
Tennis is such a mental game. It's hard to explain unless you've been on the court. But to walk into to go from point to point in every point, be able to say, "Hey, I'm not gonna try to hit a winner here," or "Hey, I'm just gonna keep grinding out the point." That's so hard. Like getting to that mindset of "Hey, even though we've hit 15 balls." We need to keep hitting balls because that's how we win the point. It's hard. Because after 6 or 7 balls, it really feels like, oh, this point's taking forever. But at the same time, they're in the same place. They can't figure out a way how to win the point either. So just letting your opponents.
How do you work at that?
Work at what?
Slowing down the game.
Honestly, it's not something you really like. This is so. I can do it. I've done it before in points.
You've done what?
Slow down the game,
okay.
But you have to it's not working on it. It's just doing it. Really, it's weird. It's kind of like working out. You gotta go do it. You just gotta do it. But it's hard to just do it, which is weird to say. But yeah.
So is there no type of drill or anything like that you learn to help?
No. To help that, no. I mean, no, not really.
no kind of visualization exercises before you get on the court or anything like that to help with that?
I mean, just having the right mindset before a match, I think. But at the end of the day, helping with just slowing down the game is just, I think, experience, and even some experienced players don't know how to do that. So it's just something you got to do.
Gotcha. What's something that you think that you've learned from watching the best tennis? I guess we kind of already talked about that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that stands out to you?
I think all of the best tennis players are like okay. One of the things I realized from all the best tennis players is at their practices, they know exactly what they're gonna practice, and they do that the whole time. I've had coaches tell me that as well. Like I've practiced with good players, like they know what they're gonna do the whole time at practice, and their intensity doesn't change during practice. And I think that's what makes them a good player on the court is because at practice they're intense the whole time. You know, not slacking off. They're intense the whole time, and so I think that. And then also during matches, like it's just, and even some pros don't do this, but just not giving up the whole match, and just their mental is pretty solid.
Does that require some conditioning though?
What?
Like to stay intense the whole. Because like if you're not conditioned, then you're working. You start paying more attention to your breathing, being out of shape. Then
Yeah, yeah. I think it can have something to do with it. I think at the end of the day, it's really just a mindset. But being conditioned helps for sure.
do you think people think tennis is easier than what it is?
Yes. People no, I literally it's the most underestimated sport ever. People think it's like yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
more underestimated than bowling?
Yeah. I'd say so. Cuz like bowling like you can see like people can go watch good bowlers and like, "Oh, yeah, I couldn't do it." Well, I don't know. I think it is. Because just when I hear people talk about tennis it's just like it's just a slack off sport. Like you don't have to be in shape or nothing. Like tennis is tough. It's really tough.
Yeah. Uh, Tell us your favorite match so far. I mean, you haven't played a ton of matches,
Yeah.
especially singles. You played doubles last year. Now you're going into singles. Do you have a favorite match?
My favorite match ever is probably. I think I have a favorite match and a most important match.
Okay.
My favorite match ever is probably I was at a tournament for high school, and I was with my doubles partner Ryan, and we played against a school called Henrietta, and it was for first place, and we were supposed to get killed by them. Like there was no way we were gonna win. Even I went to the match like, but I went in like, well, let's win this. And so and also doubles, it's way easier to have a good mindset because you have someone there helping you. But and we ended up having a great match, super close. We ended up losing, but it was just super hyped the whole time, and yeah, really
And so but you said you favorite. Then you had a most important.
most
Which one?
important. A most important match was against. It was at a USTA tournament, and I think it was in consolation, but I was playing against a kid who, like, he's good. He's pretty good, and I didn't think I could beat him, but I ended up beating him because he'd already beat me like twice, and so I ended up beating him, and I think that was a really important for me because I realized like, oh, I am getting better, and like being able to see I'm like improving. Because in tennis it can be really hard to see you're improving because there's not a lot of results like change. Like you can see change, but a match is what'll prove that you're getting better or not. So
How much time in the week do you think you should spend on it, and then how much time do you think you actually devote to it?
I actually think sometimes I spend too much time hitting, like actually playing tennis. I think I should devote more time to working out, like, because sometimes I think you can overhit. I think overhitting actually has a mental like it hurts your mental. I think overhitting hurts your mental, and I think it like weakens your body. Like it does too much because playing tennis is like exhaust it really like it's tough. Like playing a singles match is tough. Like your body really and playing too much will just like really get like right now I'm so sore. Like I probably overhit this week, which I have a tournament this weekend, so that's probably wasn't smart. But yeah, like overhitting. But yeah, I think. Wait, what was the question?
Yeah, that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was.
Oh, yeah. So okay, yeah, overhitting. So yeah, I think you can overhit a lot. Because like someone who really likes tennis, they're gonna be overhitting. That's just gonna happen. Because like tennis is one of those sports where you can just go play it, and so like you're just gonna. Like, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't overhit. Overhitting's bad. I think you should spend a week. I'm gonna do daily because I don't really know. I don't know like what it's added up to. I say like 2 to 3 hours on the court is good.
A day?
Yeah, 2 to 3 hours on the court, and then working out for sure.
Now, you mentioned some professional, like some of the best in the world. One of the things that they know is when they come to practice, they know what they're going to be doing before they get there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something like, do you plan out your practices, or do you just show up and somebody already has that plan for you? What does that look like?
So, I think you're only able to do that at a certain level, do what they do. Because, first of all, you're going to have coaches, like multiple of them around you. And also, you have, like, basically unlimited resources to do that. But I think for a younger player who's not at that level, I think it's a little different. It looks a little different. So, I don't think you're going to be, like, they will literally go to a practice and be practicing volleys for 2 hours. A younger player is just not going to do that. That's just not something you're going to do. But, yeah.
So what will you share with us like 2 or 3 things you have discovered to be consistent in that helps you get better at playing tennis?
Yeah.
Like get as specific as possible. Like what are some things you like, hey, at least twice a week I need to do this, or once a week, or every day? What's something that, give us 2 or 3 things that you've discovered so far?
Okay, first thing is running. So working out, but I think the specific thing is going to run.
Now, when you say run, is that taking a jog?
Yeah, like going on a good jog, like just being in shape, like going on a good jog, whatever that looks like for you, just starting or whatever you're at, but going on a good jog. I think there's like for tennis, I think going to jog is probably getting specific. Going to jog is good for you, but also doing drills where it's like sprinting, because in tennis you're doing a lot of that, and I think that's kind of a different kind of in shape. So I think those 2 things for working out, and then I think for me personally, praying is pretty good. Like, because I think to play tennis good, you have to have a really good mindset and really like at ease, because tennis is so mental. Like when you asked me earlier what's the best advice I've gotten, I think there's a video of Roger Federer talking about is tennis more mental or physical? And he said at the level I'm at, it's 99% mental and 1% physical.
Wow.
Because really, at the end of the day, all those players can do almost anything on the court, physical-wise. But he was like, just like the mental part is what gets you to win the matches, which that's why he's one of the best. Like, he never got mad on the court. Like, smashing racket is really normal in pros, but he never smashes racket, like, ever. So
He just stays calm, cool,
Yeah.
collected. Okay. You got one more? That's 2.
yeah, and then
So far, you said jog, mix a jog with sprints,
Yeah.
doing some agility drills, things of that nature. And then you said pray, getting your mindset right, being mentally strong. What's another one?
Eating. Eating healthy, I think, is another big one to be good at tennis. And water. Eating healthy and water. A lot of water. Especially when it's hot outside. Oh my. When it's hot, when I went to Florida, you have to be a different kind of in shape when it's hot. When it's hot outside, like the first week in Florida, I literally cannot. Like, it's just, man, I feel bad for people who have to play in the hot every day, because that's another kind of, I guess you can get used to it, but
Yeah.
it's tough.
So was tennis different from Oklahoma to Florida versus Florida?
So I think that, I think in Florida there is a level that Oklahoma does not have, but while I was there, I wasn't at that level, so you can't tell the difference. Like with the kids I was playing with, there's people from Oklahoma that can beat them, but I think Florida has a level that Oklahoma doesn't have, just like Texas, like just kind of like.
Why is that?
I think. I mean,
In your opinion?
I think that's well, Florida, because they have the national campus. I think that helps a lot. But actually, not even that. Like, I don't know. I think those are just 2 big states, and I mean they have money, so I don't. There's no reason. Like,
Do you think it has to do with like weather, like the ability to play year round there? Because like there's only so many indoor courts here, and so you don't get as much play.
I think it has to do with money, mainly, in my opinion. I don't think because at the end of the day, you could have more indoor courts, but I don't know. Like for example, like while I was in Florida, like pros were coming to practice where I was, so it's like if pros are there, it's obviously going to attract more, and also the players that are there, like that can be a big thing. Like if an academy can say, hey, this player trained here, that's going to be like, oh, I want to go there. It's that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's the people and money.
Now thinking about it, like your dream is to one day go pro.
Yeah.
In tennis, like if that's your dream.
Yeah.
The possibilities of going pro are like
very slim.
Super slim, right?
Slim, yeah.
What does tennis look like for you beyond going pro?
So I think that no matter what, I believe in myself to get at a certain level where I can at least go to tournaments, pro tournaments, and do okay. But outside of that, I think if I don't go as high as I want to do like probably do an academy or something like that, or be part of an academy. It depends, like because if you get good enough at tennis and you like people look at like you as a player, which that's why USTA is so good. Like they can go look at everything about you. And if they look at your player, like you can go pretty high without. Because what happens is if you don't go pro, you're basically a player who's doing really nothing. So like an academy can be like, hey, can you come to our academy and like hit or whatever, and then from there you can become a personal trainer or even more than that. So yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Because no matter what, I want to do something with tennis. So
yeah, that's legit. All right, any final words? Anywhere you want them to follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at Zale Coleman Hill. That's my Instagram. That's it.
Legit. All right, thanks so much.
No problem.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman podcast. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go win.
Go.